shall I render to the Lord for all his bounty to me?
Welcome to Veiled in Grace. I'm Kira,
And I'm Anna. We are Cradle Orthodox Christians
and we're here to talk about what it's like to be Orthodox women.
in a very non-Orthodox world.
And today, I am going to start by sharing a quote. So I have a whole list of quotes here. We'll see if any of them come out at some point. But the quote is from St. Isaac the Syrian, and he said, "Do not give your soul to gossip or idle talk, lest you lose your peace." And you know where a lot of us fall into the trap of losing our soul to gossip and idle talk? On social media.
Social media.
So, Anna, social media, thinking back to me, was Facebook, but I think you probably have other things that come to mind if you think as far back as you can to the beginning of social media.
Well, so I probably started with AOL Instant Messenger. Do you even know what that is?
Isn't that like an email? Like at AOL.com?
Yes. So they had an instant messenger,
Like a text
Like-
messaging?
but on the computer. It was like a chat room kind of thing.
What year was that?
I don't know what year that was, but I was like probably 12 to 14, like through high school-ish, probably.
That sounds familiar. My sister graduated high school in 2007. So she maybe would have known about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really remember when that kind of
So you just like
stopped.
messaged back and forth with friends?
Yes.
Like texting, but pre-phones.
Yes. And there was no, and like random people. Almost kind of like Twitter.
You all just went on the internet and
Yeah.
just started messaging random people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of scary when you think
Just
back.
a little
like,
bit.
Yeah. Like
I
random
mean, it's
people
what we all
talking
do
to
now,
little
though.
kids. True.
Actually, more probably than we did back then.
Right. Especially on platforms like Twitter or something that it's
So you
more.
so you had one of those accounts though. Like that's not just a memory that you have. You had an AOL account.
Correct. I had an account. And so then that was I think that was kind of it through high school. And then when I was in college is when Facebook came out. And it started as just for college people who were in college. So it had to be through your university. And it wasn't all colleges that were
But wasn't Facebook after MySpace? Did you have MySpace?
I did
Because
have
my sister had
MySpace.
MySpace. I
I
remember
also
that.
had MySpace. I don't remember which one was first though. So I used MySpace for my music to like promote that.
Okay.
I was a singer-songwriter. I guess I am, but I
Look
just
her
don't
up.
do it often.
Look her up.
And so I used MySpace more for my music. Facebook was more of a personal thing that
Yeah.
I started off with. So I was in college when it first came out. And my college was one of the colleges that were allowed to use it because only certain colleges were like in the system at first. And I remember getting on it and being like, I don't like this at all.
Why not?
I was one of those people that like, I really didn't like cell phones. Like I got a cell phone when I turned 16 and started driving because just for safety purposes. And thank God I did, because like one of the first times I went out in the snowstorm, I was like sliding backwards down this really steep hill and I had to call my mom, and she like talked me through like just reversing and going back the other way.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
But I didn't like, I hated when I'd go to a restaurant, people were on their phones. Like it all bothered me a lot. Just naturally. I don't know. I just had a natural aversion to it. And then, so then I was on Facebook for a little while, and then I was like, I'm done. So I deleted my account and I got off of it.
In college?
So
Okay.
yeah. And then because I remember when I got married the summer after I graduated college, people had shared some photos from my wedding like on Facebook, but I wasn't on there anymore. So I like didn't even know. And it was just such a
Yeah.
weird phenomenon, you know?
It was new
And
to everybody then.
right. It was still new. Then I forget what year it was. My friend told me about Instagram.
When it was just for editing
When it was just for
photos.
editing photos, or
Yeah.
at least that's what I thought it was
Yeah,
just for. So
same.
I used it to edit my photos and make them, you know, have cool filters and just for
Make
artistic
them
purposes.
look orange or
Because it's kind of a hobby of mine to
red.
take photos. Yeah. And like rainbow, you know,
Rainbow, all of the weird things that now we look
really
back and we're like,
artistic.
yeah.
So that's what I used. And I remember one day all of a sudden I was like, how is someone trying to follow me? What is this? Like I didn't even understand it. And so for the longest time, I'm like, no, I don't want to follow. And it's funny because the person who was following me at the time was a good friend. Now she doesn't even speak to me. Really weird.
Yeah.
Social media is weird. So yeah, so I eventually gave in to the Instagram social media side of it, the social side of it.
Yeah.
And
You probably had Facebook again by that point because
I think I had gotten back into Facebook just to promote my music. So then I got back on Facebook just for that purpose. But I had to have a personal profile in order to make a public one for my music. So I kind of got sucked into it. And so then I was on Facebook, I was on MySpace, I was on Tumblr. I don't know if you know what that is. It was like a blogging thing.
heard of it.
I was on Twitter, I was on all the things, but really just to promote my music because I really
Yeah.
did not like it for personal reasons. And then Instagram, once I started, it wasn't probably like I followed friends and that was about it. And then once I had my first son is when I kind of got introduced to following other people, like communities.
Yeah.
And maybe that's when the algorithms changed and they started like promoting other people. So then I started finding
Trying to
them.
make it into a social platform,
Right.
not just a photo editing site.
And then I started getting more into it and didn't realize like how far in I was getting sucked into that. So I feel like I probably overshared at that point because just not even realizing like what you're doing. And then you have the whole
At that
ego
point,
and
we don't
pride part.
realize like early on in when social medias were coming out, I don't think we realized the scope of like how many people could actually see what you were sharing,
Right.
because I don't even know if they had private accounts at that time. I don't think that was the thing at first. Like where you could set it to only your followers. I think originally anybody could see things.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe not.
remember.
But I remember like not fully grasping how many people could see things on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, and I had a YouTube. Still have a YouTube channel. I
For
do-
your music.
for my music, and I just use that account to watch videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I don't actively post anything anymore.
Yeah. I find it really interesting that you didn't like social media when you got it because I was the opposite. My generation, we were trying to think of how old. Probably like 10 and 11-ish around there when Facebook became a public sort of thing for everybody. And I remember my mom's Facebook, like she didn't let my sister and I have a Facebook, but she let us use her Facebook. And then if we wanted to post something or respond to something from her Facebook, like we had to put our name first and then dash and then whatever we were
Right.
putting so that people could tell that we were the ones responding or saying something and not her. So if we said something that was really, they would know that it wasn't from her. But my sister and I loved it. My younger sister and I are 15 months apart, and we just loved doing everything on Facebook. And of course, when we were 13, which I think was their age limit, then we both got a Facebook and we shared all of the things in our life. And that was back when we treated Facebook like it was Twitter. And we like going to the bathroom, going to the mall tonight, I'm at the store, I'm here, like put every life update that we could. And then I just kind of rode the Facebook train till I was in high school, and then Snapchat came out. Do you even use Snapchat?
I resisted for a long time, and then my friends, they had a little group on there. So I finally joined, but not for long, and then I got off because I was like, guys, I don't need this. I don't want this.
I still have Snapchat. I use it daily because my family wants photos of my children, and getting into where we are now in social media, since I don't have photos for them to see of my children, I send it to them that way versus sending it to them in a text message. Because that would be a lot of photos and videos, which I know it can still be seen by whatever, but it's like you can't go and search at least as easily on Snapchat like an old photo that I had sent somebody, sort of thing. But I liked social media a lot. I also had Instagram, and we followed each other and I shared a lot of things on there too. And then we got older.
And then 2020 happened. And
Was that it? It wasn't before that?
the turning point?
Yeah, when we just like full on called quits. That was
Yeah.
it.
It was after COVID.
What happened?
Too much drama.
Oh, and I remember there was a point, it was when Facebook and Instagram announced that they were basically saying that they were no longer going to respect people's privacy
Right.
with regards to photos on their phone.
And that kind of was like our last straw.
Yeah, like they sent everyone a notification that said something along the lines of, just so you know, if you use Facebook and have our app and allow us to access your photos, we are going to do that and use any of them for anything.
Yeah.
Thanks. Because I remember sending out like big dramatic, like making a statement before I left that I was like, you should all leave
Yeah.
too.
Do
So
you-
I think it was at the same time.
Do you miss it?
Yes and no. So to catch everyone else up on where we are today, Anna and I are both anonymously active on social media. I guess that's probably more than we would even like to be.
Oh yeah, I hate that I'm on
But
it.
we somehow have also become the people that run like all of the social media for things like our church and events.
Yeah.
Like we got sucked into it because we plan a bunch of events and then we have to share them with people. And we actually switched our church over to using the Band app instead of
Like a Facebook group.
instead of having a Facebook group, so people didn't have to be on Facebook. But we both have our own little private accounts, but we don't use them anymore for sharing like family photos or personal
yeah.
anything basically. And I do have an Instagram, I think still, because if I want to view something that someone has sent to me, I have to be able to
Have an
log
account.
in. But again, I have nothing posted on it. So whatever that span was that we like in 2020 or around 2020, we both decided that we were just done with social media and we got off of it completely. And it was probably at least a year and a half or 2 years before I even created those fake accounts to do anything. And now we primarily use those accounts to be in Orthodox women's groups. To ask, I mean, the same thing.
Community group.
The community, that's like when you ask if I miss it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't like I'm glad that I'm not oversharing my family anymore, but I also missed being able to like ask questions to people that are hard to find elsewhere. Like we've both had home births, but like I've had a lot of difficult births, which I know we'll get into, but like I've had a VBAC at home, and I had PUPS, which was like a horrible skin condition when I was pregnant, all these other things. And there was nowhere else I was going to find support groups to connect with people that have had those exact situations except for on Facebook. Like
Right.
there's not a local group at the library sort of thing. So I'm glad that I still have it for those purposes so I can ask questions and give support if I need to. And sometimes I do miss and will like, go and try to creep on people that I wished that I was still closer connected to some of them. But like since we don't talk all the time, it's like, okay, the only places I did get to see what was going on in their life is online.
When I got off of social media for personal reasons, I realized how much of a vanity issue it was for me.
Yeah.
An ego. Like, how many likes can I get? Or how many,
Yeah.
like how many people are commenting? Or what can I do to try to increase followers? And it wasn't until I got off did I realize how far in I had gotten sucked into it. And so that is why I won't let myself go back personally. It's for my own soul
Yeah.
because I wasn't strong enough. Some people can do social media without that problem, and good on you. Like that, like that's
Yeah.
amazing. But I was not a strong enough person to be able to resist those temptations of comparison and trying to get, likes. And
I would say that the beautiful thing about not being on social media, though, is that at that same moment, I realized how connected I could get with the actual people that I see daily, weekly,
who really matter
who really
in
matter.
your life.
Like who
Not that they don't matter,
I'm
but just that
not that the others
in
don't
your
matter,
daily
but
life
like
that-
I'm not going to call up, so and so from high school
Right.
if I need something. But I will call up the friend that lives, 10 minutes down the street. And it's hard for me because sometimes I tell my husband that I feel like I'm just being like ignorant to the world. Like I'm just ignoring what's going on and not paying any attention to the news or the medias or the anything. But it's also really difficult to live in that. Like it's really, really difficult to always know what's happening all the time everywhere. Not even like it's the news, but through social media. Like years and years ago, no one would know here that there's a tornado or a fire or whatnot going on the other side of the country or
until the next day or
ever.
yeah.
Ever. Like no one was worried. I mean, yes, it's good that we can be concerned about what's going on and we know what's happening in other parts of the world, but sometimes we over concern ourselves with issues that we aren't going to partake in a solution for and we don't have a solution for.
And it becomes too overwhelming.
And it's overwhelming
yeah.
because we don't know how to process that much information.
Especially if you are pregnant or postpartum and very hormonal.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to, or just raising young children, it's really hard to not freak out.
So
and
I
let
guess
it overwhelm you.
another issue that we had, because I'm sort of speaking for both of us, but I feel like we agree a lot on this issue, is that no one has a filter either. And so back to St. Isaac, when he's talking about giving your soul an idle talk. And there's also St. Paisios says, when you see something evil about another, do not listen, flee from it, and do not be present when they speak. It's hard to run away from the things when they're on the internet and you expose yourselves to them by just putting yourself out there, which is difficult because it's what we're doing right here. But you just pray that positivity comes out of it, because I just think even on Facebook, where you want to, like, even if you're trying to get something good out of people, you still get attacked with negativity that you exposed yourself to. Just yesterday in a group that I'm in, that the group's purpose is solely to help parents give reviews on books from a Christian standpoint. So for all ages of children, which is great because I have 3 children. I would love to read every single book that they like, vet every book before they read it. But sometimes that's difficult when they start getting older and then reading bigger, longer books. If you have 6 kids and each kid wants to read a different novel. So I was like, the purpose of this group seems really nice. If you ask about a book and you have 6 different parents tell you that they thought that it was a very good Christian book with nice values. So I was questioning about a book in this group or about a device or something like that. And this one mom just like attacked me. She just went at it about how I can't believe that you wouldn't review everything that your children are exposed to ever. You really need to step up as a mom and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, luckily there were like 10 people that came to the rescue that were like, lady, like it's the whole purpose of this group.
Right. Or
is
book
to
lists or
is to ask for suggestions
Yeah.
from people that obviously you don't know, but you trust that if there are many of them giving you the same review, that it's valid. And she just went off on it. But that's the thing right there. I'm seeing people speak about evil, and I'm seeing people act in not an appropriate way, and I didn't even want to expose myself to it. I just did. It was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's the Wild West. You know?
Like
And
anybody can say and do anything that they want,
with
and
no
they don't
filter.
feel like there's repercussions.
Yeah, there's no filter. They're hiding behind a screen. And in person, you know that's not what they would have said to you.
She would not have said that to my
Yeah.
face. I mean, maybe she would have, but I'd hope she wouldn't.
Right. It's like 9 out of 10 times people would not be saying these things in person.
Yeah. So it's why moments like that, I just take a deep breath and then I'm like, and this is why I'm happy that I don't put my family life on there, because if I put my family life on there, then I'll get met with negativity,
Yeah.
which is kind of what I run into with YouTube already.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll deal with
Yeah.
at some point.
We're hoping to avoid the drama on here from people that have negative things to say. But I have a little different relationship because I did dive back into social media recently, and I had started a YouTube channel. And even with that, I did that more as a hobby, but it was doing pretty well. And I got stressed out and was explaining to my husband that like I can't do something just a little bit. It's so consuming. Like I feel like no one can have just a little bit of something. I feel like if I needed to be on YouTube, then I needed to be on YouTube, and I needed to be successful being on YouTube. Like I couldn't just be there to be there,
Yeah.
which is kind of how all of social media is. I know not everyone is making YouTube videos, but all of social media, it doesn't feel like you can just be there to just share your life or share whatever your topic is that you're talking about. You have to be there and you have to be good at it, or you have to be successful at it. And I told my husband that it's so difficult to keep up with, because in order for the algorithms to like you and suck you in, then you have to post things frequently. And I don't have time for that.
Right.
I have 3 kids. I don't share, like I share some motherhood things, but I don't share a ton of like what my children are doing. It's usually more like what I'm doing. And as a result, I'm like, that means that I have to film things. Filming things takes time. Editing things takes time. And I have yesterday's dishes still sitting on the counter and 6 loads of laundry to fold. And I don't feel like having to record myself folding the laundry every day.
Right.
So it's also coming to the point of reminding yourself that you don't have to be all in on something. And no one's forcing you to be on social media or be active on social media.
It's this, oh, well, I need to be successful at it.
Yeah.
Feeling this, oh, well, I need to have all these likes, or I need to have, and you get sucked into that even when you weren't trying to. You're just doing it as a hobby. And that was the same thing. I started mine as a photography hobby on Instagram. And then all of a sudden it like became this thing that had
Now
to be
it's your
more. Like, yeah, it was,
which I'd even told my husband that the conversation arose because when we were starting doing podcast things, I sat down with him and said, so, am I going to get judged or whatever if I just stop doing my YouTube channel? Because now I'm doing the podcast and I got, this other job working for an event and all of these other things. And I'm doing homeschool paperwork and I'm just overwhelmed with the things that I'm doing in real life right now. And the thought then of having to continue adding to my other YouTube page. And he just looked at me and said, no, like, I don't care. It's not like you have to be out there like making money on YouTube or posting videos for me. I don't care if you're on YouTube. It was something that you like doing. And he was like, you don't really owe it to anybody there either. Like, you're just on the internet. It's if you just disappear.
Or if you just
Like,
once a month post something.
well, that's what he said
okay.
too. He was like, that's fine. If you come up with some video that you randomly want to share and think that it will be fun, then do it.
yeah.
And I just, being
Type
how
A.
I
If I'm going to do it, I'm
am,
going to do it good, like
just
all
being
in.
how I am was like, I don't quit things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't quit things. I grew up riding horses. And when I had my horses through being married and, before my husband, through being married and up until I had my second child. And then life smacked me in the face. And I realized that I can't afford 2 giant horses. And 2, I used to ride 5 days a week in high school. And when you have 2 babies under the age of 2, you don't have any time to ride horses. And then you look forward in your life and go, well, I'd like to have more babies. So then I can't ride for then. And then I can't ride until then. And then I can't ride until then. And then you go, well, I can't ride. So that's when we decided to give up our horses. And I still look back on it though, and it's been almost 4 years and I just am sad. Like, I don't like giving up things. I don't like having to walk away from something that I wanted to be involved in. And so it's kind of like, it felt like that with social media for a while. I think at the very beginning, it felt really freeing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I remember your post on Instagram when you were like, hey, peace out. And I think it was a picture of you, and you just left. And
It's still there. I ended up not deleting my account,
but it kind of like,
but I
that's how
don't post anything.
everyone's gonna go try to find you now. Anna had great content too. Like, she was the, like, you were the ultimate like Instagram life influencer before influencers even became a thing.
It was like just about just starting.
You would have been a really successful influencer.
Well, that's kind of what I was like
Trying
to
to
do, and that's when it just wasn't jiving with my soul.
But then it doesn't feel like your life either.
Yeah.
But leaving all of the medias, like when you leave, it's over. Like, it's really refreshing at first, but then I feel like you look back later and you're like, but I did kind of like.
It is bittersweet. I do miss on Instagram. I miss the homeschool communities. I miss the holistic health and ancestral diet people. I miss seeing all of that. And occasionally I will kind of check in once, maybe every 6 months, to see if there's, anything that I really missed. Usually not, but I also, what I don't miss is that I realized that I was comparing myself, like in homeschool or even like in church stuff. Like, you see people doing certain things, and you see, say, 300 people doing homeschooling 300 different ways, and you feel like you should be doing all of it.
I still feel
And
that
so
way.
then you feel inferior of what you're doing because you're not able to do all of that. And it's like, you're not supposed to. That's 300 separate people doing all those things, And so, and people would say that about me, like, I don't know how you do it all. I don't, like, I don't do it all. By the grace of God, I make it through each day. But like, there's things that I have help with, or there's things that I'm not doing, or that it might only take, 1 day of the year or whatever, So I think we make this ideal of other people online and then try to compare our lives to it, and then we end up feeling inadequate. So I do feel like it has really benefited my homeschool life, not having any of that comparison, and we're just doing what's working for us. And
Yeah, we need to talk about that sometime. Not on here, just, I mean, maybe on here at some point, but like in real life, I need to talk to you about homeschooling.
Of course, anytime.
Anytime. Because, well, that's the thing. It's beneficial for those that don't have someone to connect with. But for the people like us that have someone to connect with, that we can just go, hey, we need to talk about homeschooling because I need some suggestions on this, or I want to know this. Then I can get your suggestions, and I can get this friend's suggestions and this friend's suggestions. And then I have 3 people.
Right.
And I'm like, okay,
A lot more manageable.
I can handle these thoughts and differences. Not 300 people.
And there is a lot of good that came out of being on social media for me. I like my whole journey of having a home birth and eating, an ancestral diet, and being, transitioning my whole life to a more holistic lifestyle. Like, it's been, like a 20-year process, but I credit social media to a lot of that, of the information that I found there, and the support in the community, because it wasn't necessarily in my local community. Honestly, just probably since COVID, is it finally in our local community, these things,
Yeah.
the homeschooling and the holistic health. And
when a lot of people did get off of the internet and started plugging into more local
all of a
resources.
sudden it's in our local community now. And so I'm, I love that I'm seeing that. And, I also know that, if the Lord wants me to know something, he'll send it my way somehow.
Yeah.
If I wasn't on Facebook, I would have come across maybe a book, or, so I have to trust
get
that
an email.
Right.
Randomly.
Like, I have to trust that the Lord will continue to guide me, and I don't need the social media to help guide me. But I can use it as a tool, as long as I'm not getting sucked into it. It's not soul sucking.
Yes. And the nice thing is that so that's kind of where the benefit of the internet also comes into play. There's obviously a lot of downfalls to the internet as well outside of social media. But with the internet, if you do want to find information on something, you can look something up. Mm-hmm. You don't have to necessarily interact, I guess you could say, with other people, because sometimes that's where a lot of like conflict and stress comes from, is other people, and instead use the internet as a resource to just say, hey, I'm going to look at these 3 links. They're just articles, and I'll read the article. As a tool. So, well, that kind of dives into the good things about social media. Like, I feel like we're really dissing on social media because we don't use it a lot anymore. But then again, here we are
on social media
making a new podcast. So are we just the hypocrites that are telling people that social media is bad, but here we are?
I'm going to say I'm not a hypocrite, because I do watch YouTube videos and YouTube podcasts, and I listen to tons of podcasts. I mean, on the daily. I sit and I purposely eat my breakfast after my children so I can sit there and listen to a 5-minute Orthodox reflection by a priest. It's like my 5 minutes of me time in the morning to get started. And I'll continue listening if it's longer while I'm cleaning up the dishes and and breakfast. But so I do use it. I use social media, but I just don't personally put my family life on it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's similar to you.
I'm still thinking about that 5 minutes of peace that you have every morning. This morning, I'm trying to be better. I pulled out my Bible right after breakfast. And I guess to backtrack for 1 second, the whole Bible thing, Anna and I have discussed in the past how, despite growing up Orthodox, we both really struggle to find routine in reading the Bible. So I was trying to I was trying to encourage myself to sit down and read the Bible just a little bit, just the epistle and the gospel for the day, just something.
That's big.
They're not very long. I mean, 5 minutes
Yeah.
only takes 5 minutes. So I sat down mistakenly on my couch with my coffee, and it was not a prayerful experience. It was, yeah, I was not as calm as I should have been, as my one child was trying to jump off of the pony ball onto the couch, the 2-year-old, and then the 4-year-old was sitting there trying to turn the pages for me, those paper, super
Yeah,
paper
super thin.
thin pages that were about to rip, and I'm just like,
Well, and that just reminds
trying to read the Bible.
that does remind me, like when I did get off of social media and stop scrolling so much and sharing so much about my life, it gave me so much more time to do other things, to be more productive in my life.
I'm still not productive
I'm
even
not-
without social media, or at least it doesn't feel like it. But
Well, you're filling your space with your time with other things. And so I do, yes, now I can help with the church's communications
because you're not doing your
because I'm
personal
not doing my
things.
personal things. However, now I have not printed photos in 5 years. And that really bothers me because I like
Yeah.
photography. So I need to try to somehow find this balance of still like
I
at
keep
least
telling you, the yearly photo album.
I know I need
I've
to
showed you mine before.
I know, but that means like at Christmas time, at the end of the year, I have to somehow find the time to put this thing together.
It only
don't know.
takes, there's apps and it only takes an hour or so. And they'll
Yeah.
go on your phone through each month and say, which of these photos do you want? And you just click all the photos from that month and the next month. And I just make a whole year.
But here's my other problem because I'm into photography. I have to like go through, pick my favorite photos, edit them, you know, like and so
But
it
it's
becomes this
not
bigger
Instagram.
thing. I know, but it's
It's
still
not
for
Instagram.
me.
It's not
It's
social
like my
media.
hobby. But yes, I need to just print the photos, even if they don't look
The
as much
photos
as
that
I-
the photos that you wanted edited, you probably edited when you took them.
Not really. I've also noticed since getting off of Instagram, I take way less photos now. Like I really don't. It was almost like I was taking tons of photos just to show other people. And now I'm like, no, I want to be in the moment. So I really only take photos if it is something like a magical scene that I'm like, I have to capture this, or we're like on vacation and we're taking a family photo. So I don't tend to take as many artistic photos anymore. And that kind of bothers me. I've kind of lost the hobby side of it because I'm like, I don't want to be sharing online. So it's about finding that balance even without it, is still doing the things I enjoy and that bring me joy, but
Do you want me to teach you how to take photos of everything in life? Because I still do, and now I have nowhere to share them. My husband reminds me of that. Hey, you have 9,000, not exaggerating, 9,000 photos on your phone.
I have 20,000.
What are you gonna do with those? but for how long? Like, how far back do those photos go?
I think I had to get a new phone and I lost photos. It was like, it's been like the last 8 or 9 years probably.
because mine's like the last 3, 2.5.
When
And
I
they're
have so
just
many,
there.
I have so many photos for church, like promo photos for church that are on my phone. I just need to really, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go through them and
I know. I
clean
just
it out,
throw them
and I
all
feel
in
like
a
I'm
flash
gonna
drive now, and I
die
don't know what I'm
with-
gonna do with
I'm
them.
going to die and people are going to be left with all of this photo clutter.
I mean, I guess it's better digital than in paper, though, because I've had relatives pass away recently, and we've had to go through like 17 boxes of just photos. And you look at it, and you're like, "This is a photo of a mountain.
Yeah.
Don't know where
And this
it
is a blurry
or who it
photo
was."
of
yeah. And this is a photo of this, and you have to actually physically go through all of it and throw away the photos that you don't want. So at least if it's digital, it's like takes up less space,
True.
physical space.
Physical space.
But talk about what the positives of social media are, and I guess the way that we're using it and the way that other people could still use it without putting aside being sucked into it. Like if you can resist that.
Well, like we already said, the community aspect, finding people with similar or things that you're interested in. And, you know, we see the growth of orthodoxy online because people are finding the church online. And
the
then,
local teenager
right, like, and then they find your parish from your website,
that Anna so beautifully designed.
and then they show up. and it's an awesome thing, especially when teenage boys are
Teenage
coming to
boys.
church on their own without their families. Like, this is incredible. Like, this is God. This is all God.
Crazy.
But so yes, awesome things can come out of it. And it's why we started this podcast, because we wanted to be good, work for the good of the church online, be a good presence, and try not to get sucked in.
And I guess that's the thing about social media, is that there's so much out there that you can't control what your eyes are always seeing. Like, you just get presented things that you aren't even looking for. It's how the algorithms all work on all of social media. They just pop random things up that they think that you will like.
And if you happen to watch it, then they'll give you more of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, so the goal then is to surround yourself with content. If you do want to be involved in some sort of social media, is to surround yourself in content that is good and aligns with your views.
Which is why we started this. Because that was our problem. We wanted
is
more things to watch.
Yeah. Our table is too small. We needed more people.
Hey, and maybe it'll grow and we can get more people and
We'll
a
go
bigger
back-
round
We'll
table.
go back to the view.
Yes.
And we'll have an actual legitimate round table. Not that this isn't round, but you know what I mean. A big round
The
table.
baby round table.
We'll get the day that we get a bigger round table. You'll
We'll
know
get a
that
bigger
we're
plant too.
the day that we get a bigger plant and a bigger round table. You'll know that we are successful. Which, to measure success, we're not. I think did we talk about this before? I think we talked about this way back when we started, to what this podcast would be in terms of success. Like, to us, what does it mean for this to be successful? What is the goal of this podcast and everything else that we do on the internet? Who are we trying to please?
The Lord. And if we can help others draw closer to Him, that's our goal.
And that's success here.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice.
Yeah. Whether we're helping people to find the faith or just walk in their path on the Orthodox way, or to create a community of women. I have big dreams, big goals.
Anna has really big dreams.
Come on, guys, help me out.
She's got really big dreams that when we go big, we've got conferences and we've got
Journals,
t-shirts and journals.
Come on, guys, we can do
group
this.
Community trips, and we've got. We're going to Alaska, and we're going to the Holy Land, and we're all traveling together. You don't know it yet. Make sure you subscribe. And we'll let you know when we plan the group trip.
But
But that's what we want.
And it will only grow the faith. The more, like we talked about in the last episode, how do we grow, how do we surround ourselves? How do we get people to be more modest and less vain? It's by doing it ourselves and creating that community of people doing it to help support and inspire and motivate and encourage other people to do that also. And
that's the positivity of social media, though, is that you can surround yourself with good things. It's not always easy, but you have to really seek out the positive things and the things that you believe in and align.
Yeah, you have to
morally
guard your eyes and your heart by not following things that are not in line with Orthodox teachings, with, the good, the truth and beauty, why even see, why put that into your life, any sort of negative energy.
You sparked Proverbs. Let me find it for you.
Oh.
As soon as you said guarding, my brain went to my research. Okay, Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life. That is our reminder to guard our heart. And St. John Chrysostom said, guard your heart, for from it flows the spring of life. So we need to be mindful. I think that's the whole point of social media, is not that you should or shouldn't use it, but you need to take a step back and do a self-reflection just like everything in life, just like modesty, just like all sorts of topics on social media, step back and look at it. Am I consumed? Am I overconsumed? Could I stop tomorrow?
What am I consuming myself
What am I
with?
consuming myself with? What type of content am I consuming
Yeah.
myself with? And is that content pleasing to God?
Yeah, because it was online that, especially on, when you're following old friends on social media, and you might not realize where they're at in their journey. And then you
We're at
start,
different points of the ladder. It's why I sat that
Oh,
icon
there
there
we
too.
go. Do you want to talk about?
It just tied right in. We're at different parts of our life. Anna laughed because I just have randomly been changing out our icons, but I didn't really tell her about that. Eventually, once our icons get ordered, we will have St. Olga of Alaska and the icon of the protection here for you. But in the interim, I have been adding new icons here that I randomly feel drawn to each time. And I have the Ladder of the Divine Ascent. So it's where everyone's at on their journey. People are falling off, people are climbing higher, and we're all trying to reach the same goal, hopefully.
Right. But then on social media, you don't realize that maybe their goal isn't your goal.
True.
And I didn't realize there was times where like I would hear things, see things, I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, I'd reflect on it and be like, oh no, it doesn't sit well with me. Things that friends would possibly say, like after in hindsight, I'd be like, no, that's not what I should be believing or thinking or feeling.
Something that always comes to me is when I'm thinking about social media is that we're supposed to be really living in the moment of where we are and what's actively going on around us. We shouldn't be hoping and praying just for the future and what's to come. And we shouldn't be dwelling on the past. And one thing that social media is really good at is reminding you of old posts that you have made and old photos that you've taken. And while sometimes that's really positive, it also sometimes would bring up photos of things that you did and you just shake your head and are like, why did I put that on the internet? Like, why? Or even if it was something, a stage of your life that you weren't pleased with, and then you confessed it. And the whole beauty of confession in the Orthodox Church and being able to ask for forgiveness for how you've acted or how you treated certain people or things that you did or said, and be forgiven of those sins, and then try to move on with your life and not dwell on the mistakes that you've made. And then you go on Facebook and there's a pop-up notification from, oh, 3 years ago you posted this and you said this to this person and you said this to this person, and you look at it and are like, oh, that wasn't very kind of me, or I can't believe I shared that, or I can't believe I wore that and took pictures of myself and put it on the internet. That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to move on when you're always being reminded of what you previously did.
Right. It's almost like it's there forever.
It's almost like that's the point of the internet. So I have a quote here that is from Saint Seraphim that says, acquire the spirit of peace and 1,000 souls around you will be saved. And the spirit of peace made me think about, like, not just your soul, but your mind and how you handle things and how you process things. And that's an interesting road to navigate with social media, the whole mental health aspect of it. So we can sometimes think and recognize that it's addictive or it's making us act a certain way, like you were mentioning earlier, it making you, feel a certain way. But then to take a step further back from that and think, how is this affecting my overall mental health with regards to, is it causing me anxiety? Is it making me feel more lonely or less lonely?
Or making me feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
Ooh, fly.
It came right for you. All these bright lights in here, and it really liked you. I was saying, though, social media affects people's mental health in positive ways because it can give you, it can be uplifting and boost your mindset in certain aspects, but it's also a very lonely and dark place sometimes. And it makes you feel less connected to the world around you. Whenever you have everybody there, you don't have just you don't have anybody then to lean on.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. Are you spending so much time on social media that you're not fostering and creating actual relationships with people? Are you part of an actual community in real life, in the physical realm?
It's intimidating, though, to talk to people in real life for some people.
And that's a problem too. I mean, people are we have generations now raised on social media and not talking to people, or texting people and not knowing how to have conversations with people. It's really kind of scary.
Definitely scary.
How do we raise our children to not get sucked into this?
We don't expose them to it, at least not early. So I guess what are the practical tips for not just our children, but being women? What are the practical tips for women? What are we supposed to do to be able to set ourselves up for success if we do want to be involved in social media?
I don't know.
Being watchful, being mindful. I think, again, as we mentioned before, do a self-reflection, figure out where your priorities are,
And where your weaknesses are.
figure out where your weaknesses are, figure out who's benefiting, if you are benefiting from you being on social media, and then think about what would happen if you weren't on social media. And I think it's also a good way to set limits for ourselves. So if you do want to be on social media, maybe limit ourselves to how much time we spend on it, or fast, follow if you really, if that's the hard thing, I think, for some people, is that I think some people will listen to this and say, I agree with you. I also don't really love social media and I don't want to be on it, but I can't stop. What would I do if I didn't have social media? Everybody on social media knows me. They see me. I post things all the time. I interact with people. So maybe just take a break.
It gives you such clarity when you step away for a while and then
pay attention
and you recenter yourself and realize what is important and where your priorities are and how much you go to your phone. That I was very surprised by. When I first got off of social media, there were so many times that I was I'd look at the phone and be like, I have no need to go to it.
Or you'd pick it up and then you look at it and you're like, what am I supposed to do on here? There's nothing to do. There's no one texting me and no one calling me. So what am I supposed to do on here?
Yeah. Now I have an issue of too many emails. Somehow I have to fix that issue.
I just added my 7th new email
I'm tempted
yesterday.
to take all email off my phone, but then I'm like, I never get computer time. I would I would really never check my email.
I know. In this new job, I have to email people all the time. And I'm like, I have to have email access from my phone. I can't. I remember you telling me, I think it was podcast related, to pull something up on my laptop. You're like, I sent you this, just go ahead and pull it up and review it, or blah, blah, blah. And I just sent you a laughing emoji and responded something like, That's cute that you think I can look at my laptop in the middle of the day
With young
without
children
a
around.
child spilling something on it or stepping on it or breaking it in
Yeah.
half. I'll just look at it on my phone.
Right. So we are limited as parents at home with our children 24/7. You know, we do rely on our phones more than a computer.
But I don't mind that as much. I don't hate social media. Just because I'm not on it doesn't mean that I don't see benefits from aspects of it.
I don't like my children seeing me on my phone a lot, though. That does bother me because I set such strict rules and regulations with them and
Yeah.
screens. I don't want to be a hypocrite. And there are times where like, well, Mom, you're on your phone. I'm like, I'm doing work and I'd much rather not be on my phone. So I will say that, but like it's hard. Like all they do is see me on my phone, even if I am using it, which more often than not is some sort of work related reason. I'm not just scrolling. That happens maybe at 10 o'clock at night when I'm just
Yeah, and
tired. But
I fall guilty into it too because I like listening to podcasts and documentaries. I don't often get to watch them, but I'll listen to them. So I typically try to limit when I listen to them to doing the dishes and doing the laundry because they're mindless tasks that, yeah, I could probably just pray through instead. But I like to have time where I'm like, I get to listen to something or be entertained by something that isn't just screaming children at me. And since those are moments that I can't be like physically with them anyway, I will have my like headphone in an ear. But even then, I'm like, I feel like I just spend all day like listening to something. So then I have to remind myself, like, okay, I'm done doing this. I need to like turn it off now and go back to doing what I'm doing with my children.
well, and that brings up another point. We don't have as much time to be able to sit down and read. So I feel like I've been able to learn more about the faith because of social media, listening to YouTube videos or podcasts about the faith. And it helps me to grow in my faith and in my walk with Christ without having to try to find a time to sit down in peace and quiet and read a book during the day. Like I will at nighttime before bed, but during the day is a lot more difficult.
And we said the same thing about this podcast, that we feel like a lot of people that will listen to it are not even going to get to watch the video aspect of it, and they're going to just turn it on and listen to it because if you are a mother or a working woman that's just busy and you just want something to listen to have some sort of entertainment, I guess that's what we are, then like that's what this is. It's nice to be able to have something that's positive and relatable and orthodox.
Kind of reminds me of when my dad would listen to talk radio in the car.
Yeah.
Hopefully less boring.
My dad always
But
just listened to Chicago
I'm sure
in the
my kids,
car.
like I don't normally listen to podcasts where my kids can hear it. It's
Yeah.
either I
Well,
have
that's why I have
headphones.
my headphones.
Yeah, either headphones or it's in the car alone. Because if I were to listen to it in the car, it'd be like me when my dad would listen to talk radio. Why are we listening to this?
Yeah. Or there are some things that I don't want my children to listen to.
Precisely.
Like not inappropriate things,
Just
but like I told you,
more
I was
mature than
yeah.
me.
Well, like I told you, I was re-listening to the audiobook of Parenting Towards the Kingdom, and like my children are going to then question what the guy is talking about when he's explaining how to raise children. Like, why is the guy saying that you should say this to your kids or say this to your kids?
Right. So finding that time to listen to things or watch things, again, it's a balance.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance, and everyone's at a different stage of it. But it's really hard to not get sucked into things. I think that's just the number one thing for me.
And even, even just in TV shows and movies, it's really made me kind of step back and realize like, this type of show is giving me anxiety. we don't need to watch it, even though it's the most popular show out there and everyone's
Yeah.
watching it. It doesn't sit right with me, and it is kind of hard because I feel like men don't get
My
that.
husband loves drama.
Right, like men can watch those things and it doesn't
I
affect them,
and I
and then
tell
we're
him
sitting
every
there like
show.
having nightmares
Well,
afterwards.
I know. I tell him every time. I'm like, he knows that the selection of movies to watch with me or shows is very limited to cooking shows and rom-coms because
Right.
anything outside of that, but even that, rom-coms are difficult to watch because I don't like to subject myself to rom-coms where there's a lot of inappropriate TV things going on. So, but a whole nother thing. But when he is requesting things to watch, I will always lay down the rules, which he already knows and doesn't need reminded of, that there is not allowed to be killing and there's not allowed to be blood and there's not allowed to be gory things and there's not allowed to be scary things. And part of it stems
Or
from the fact,
raunchy, like,
yes, or raunchy things. Part of it stems from the fact that the time that we get together, which alone is very small, especially because we have a lot of things going on in our life, even after our kids go to bed, that we have to do. But the small window when our children are sleeping is at nighttime, right before we go to bed.
same
And
with
I
us.
don't
We
like,
get like 1 hour.
yeah, and I don't like going to bed after watching something really scary because my husband will be nice and sleeping and
Mm-hmm.
peaceful about 2.5 seconds later.
Mm-hmm.
And at 3 a.m., I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll, the tap on the shoulder, and I'm like, how are you sleeping right now?
Right.
It's like, what do you mean, how
No,
am I
and this was
sleeping right now?
something, this really was something I had to learn to be like, I don't have to be watching, even though I'm getting sucked into this show and I want to know what happens, I do not need to finish this series because it does
Yeah.
not sit well with my soul. I can't sleep afterwards. Like we are, as women, we are more sensitive, and that's a beautiful thing. And that God created us to be more sensitive because we need to be more sensitive in our roles. But that also means you have to
Part
make
of what
choices.
keeps us innocent,
Right. We're not,
trying to protect our own innocence like children
yeah.
and not expose ourselves to things that we know are going to be scary. So, as a mother, one of the very difficult things that I don't know if you approached it in the same way that I did, but when I stepped back from social media, I also tried to make an effort to remove my children from social media, not just myself posting my children, but when we are out with other family members and like they're trying to take photos of things too, I realize that when my children are in group photos with our family per se, that some things will likely just end up on the internet. But I don't want everything of their life. Like, it's okay that every couple years someone somewhere might see that we went, to wherever we went on a trip to together. But it was very difficult for me because at that time I requested, like, I asked all of my family members, hey, can you please stop posting pictures of my children? And that's a lot more intimidating than it seems.
Because people don't understand.
They don't, or they just don't feel the same way about it. Like, not even if they don't understand, they might just not think that it's a big deal. And we think that it's a big deal. And I'm thankful that I have family that is respectful and for the most part generally do not share photos of my children every day, every week. Like, it's maybe in every few months sort of thing. But I pray that it's teaching them to also be more in the moment. If they want to take photos, that's fun, and we usually just share them amongst each other. And then I
Right.
save them for the kids for their own memories. But like their memories don't have to be someone else's.
Right.
But that's also really difficult in a day-to-day basis when we go places too. Like, I'm the mom that doesn't consent to my children's photos being taken for anything. In the moms group I had used to go to, no, I don't consent to my children's photo being taken for this. At the library, every week they want to take a picture of us doing the activity. No, I would rather you just not have my children in the photos of everything that you're doing. And it's hard because I know that it's for promotional things, but they're not like our children. Yours are just getting, your oldest, to the point of maybe being able to say whether or not he would or wouldn't want things online. But my children are not at anywhere near an age that they can decide whether they want their life posted online.
To understand the ramifications of doing that.
I
and what
can't
that
ask
means.
them. Even if I did, they'd have no idea.
Right. They don't.
I was kind of happy yesterday when I asked my 5-year-old to go get my laptop, and he didn't know that that's what it was called. He didn't know that it was a laptop. So I spent 5 minutes in the kitchen going, the thing, it opens up like this and closes like this, and it's red on the front, and you use your fingers, you type on it. Remember whenever I let you do that game with the letters on it? And he's like, oh, yeah, this? I'm like, yeah, that's called a laptop. No, that's a computer. Well, it's called a laptop computer. So
Sweet.
I was kind of happy about that, but it's really awkward to stand up for your children whenever you go out places, and then you're the one person in the group that is like, I don't want my children online, actually. Sorry. Not sorry.
Well, and even just for safety reasons, why do, people need to know where my kids are at?
Yeah.
Like what unfortunately there's a lot of creepy people, and
I usually stick with the backs of the heads, because if you know my kids, then you know what they look like. But at least to everybody else, if they can only see the back of you, then they'll have no idea what child that is,
right.
generally. But I remember we have a local salt spa, and I went with my friends. It's a very tiny room, but I went with 3 of my friends and our 10 children. And the woman who owns it was so lovely, and she just thought it was so fun that we had 10 children in this little salt room. So she wanted to take a picture of all of our kids in the salt room, but she was kind enough to ask first. And of course I was like, I'd rather not. And my friends, being, wonderful and respectful like they are, even I think told her before she even got to me to ask me. When she asked them, she was like, oh, our friend over there will actually prefer that you don't. But it actually forces people to be creative in other ways. You can share fun things that are happening without having to show the physical photos of children and what they're doing. She instead took this really cute picture of, while we were all in the room, all 10 pairs of their shoes scattered around the lobby together. And it was so cute. And we were like, oh yeah, like she was like, look at all these happy little feet,
Right. You can get your point across without having to overshare somebody else's life.
Yeah.
I remember, so the first time we went to Guatemala on our mission trip and took photos of the kids, and they actually would share photos of the kids on social media, because this was still when it was rather new. But then by the next time I went, they're like, no, children's faces can't be on social media.
Well, and it's the same thing with a lot of foster children now.
Well,
they request that
you can't show their faces.
Yeah.
You have to make sure they're covered, at least with like this sticker or whatever, and it's really hard for some people to understand why, but it's just,
But
it's
so
not,
why is it that we don't want people knowing where foster children are, but we don't care people knowing where
Right.
our children are?
it's just, it's no one's business. Like, just post your own business.
Which I like. Our church is very respectful of that. And I think we kind of, like you and I, set the precedent for that probably 5 years ago or so, when we just decided that we didn't feel it was necessary for our church to have like all of our children's faces broadcasted for them to see what was going on and things that we were doing
On the daily. Yeah.
on the daily. But that's hard. It's really difficult It's difficult as a woman to navigate how much you want to be on social media. And then as a mother, you have the responsibility of navigating your children on social media when you're not even on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I don't have a Facebook, but I do have to keep my children off of other people's Facebooks.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's a wild world.
I want to make it make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't to me, but I want to. But I guess I appreciate the simplicity of being a little further removed from social media, despite the fact that I still access it every day. The step back feels very refreshing, and it feels like I feel more connected to where I am. I feel closer to the people around me. I'm thankful that I have good community around me, but a lot of the people that I know, I met at church and I met at a library. So you need to put yourself out there in the community too.
And at Christmas time, I get great nostalgia because it's as if I'm back in time again, making a Christmas newsletter to update everybody on our life for the last year. Because before I got off social media, it was like, what am I going to write? Everyone knows everything about my life this whole
Yeah.
year. But now I get to give a little update because not that many people know what we're up to because we're not talking as often as we would have been on social media. They're not seeing all the photos and posts. And so I get to choose what is the most important things.
And people then usually are more likely to reach out to you
Right.
about life too. I've had people that I'll send my Christmas card to with our little life blurb update, and then they'll send me a letter back.
That's sweet.
Multiple people that will send me a letter back that are like, because it's the only time that they really hear from me during the year, because they're more just like, they're close enough friends that I still want to be in contact. But they'll send something back and, oh, that's so exciting that you did this with your family this year. Thank you for sending me the picture. This is what we're doing. And it's,
Yeah. Or I'll get a text
yeah.
like thanking me and talking about those updates. It kind of forces people to reach out, which is nice. But, there was a day and a time when that's all there was writing letters. And I think there's
a beauty
so
to
much
the
beauty to
simplicity.
that simplicity. And that we don't have to know all the things about all the people and all the places at all the time. We can live more simply and have more beauty from
You
it.
only have so much of you to give towards something, and you can't give all of you to everything. I had a professor that gave a great speech on that. He used a little bit more profanity than that, but but it was really motivational, and that his whole point was that you can't care about everything in life. If you're passionate about this or you care about this, then give a lot of you to that. And if so and so is passionate about that, then they can give a lot of themselves to that. But we can't give all of ourselves to everything because we get burnt out. We can't consume ourselves in everything of the world. It's too overwhelming for us. But we can pick and choose the things that we know that we want to make a difference in and that we want to be active participants in, and be mindful of that and choose those things.
Yeah, and that's really helped in my life. For me personally, getting off of social media, personally sharing things, I am able to now just devote my life to these like 3 main things that are
Yeah.
important to me. And obviously Christ and his church being number 1, making that my priority.
This was refreshing. This was validating in a way. Stepping off of social media for some time personally and having an in-depth reflection of it. This felt good.
Agreed.
Thank you for tuning in to Veiled in Grace. We are an Orthodox women's lifestyle podcast. If you like what you heard today, be sure to like and subscribe and share it with a friend.
Also, feel free to leave a comment with any topic suggestions or ideas or things that you're struggling with that you would like us to discuss on a future episode. We do have lots in store, but we want to hear from you. Please keep it positive.
Yeah, I just hold my breath every time. in a respectful manner. We're trying to fill the internet with nice things.
Yes. We love you. God bless you.
What shall